Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Almost 30 Podcast.
Hi, everybody. It's Lindsey, Simsick, and Krista Williams. We're so happy you're here for another solo with your girls. We're doing more of these because you asked for it.
Because you asked for it and because it's so much fun.
It is so
what
much
we
fun.
started doing on our closet floors. We had made up topics. We had made up sections of the podcast.
Yeah, the segments are like...
We had like 12.
Yeah, we're like, and on to...
Yes, yes. One of the segments was 100, not 100. That was like, what's...
Yeah, what's the shit right now?
Yes.
What is like...
What's cool and not cool, basically.
Yes. 100, not 100. Shit that stuck.
Shit that stuck, which is stuff that we learned.
Yeah.
We also had, what is an almost 30-ism? There was kind of like a moment where we were talking about what is representative of being almost 30 and what isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot
As you can see, they really...
Yeah, as you can see, they were profound.
Well thought out.
They were profound and interesting and fascinating indeed.
You can go back and listen to those early episodes if you will. We're going to do another reaction episode soon.
I cannot wait. We reacted to our first episode.
Yeah.
I laughed
so hard.
So hard. When I laugh hard, I would laugh like a Muppet. And I laughed so hard.
You were crying.
Oh my God, I was crying because we were saying nothing. We were like, hey guys, okay. So let's be real. And this is what I've decided. I'm going to be real with you guys. And we had said no words, nothing. No one was saying you're being real or not.
Exactly.
It was
and 15 minutes in, we're like, all right, before we get started.
Yes. Before we get started with our segments, getting into it, our voices were totally different. Lindsey you sounded
a frog.
Rough and tumble.
Yeah, rough and tumble.
And I was very Midwest.
Yeah, you had a higher pitch.
Higher pitch, very Midwest. It was funny. I spoke with someone who did a reading for me. She's like, oh, you're from Ohio. Where's your accent? And I was like, wow, I forgot about that you can have.
Did you have an accent?
I don't really know. I mean, I've been out of Ohio since I was 20.
Uh-huh.
I moved to Chicago, maybe earlier, younger. So I've been out, but I even forget what the Ohio accent's like. I need to listen. Or Midwestern accent.
I feel like Ohio is a mix of Midwest and
East Coast?
Philly?
Yeah, it could be.
A little bit?
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have an accent either, I don't think.
I don't. We've gotten rid of it, maybe.
Yeah. We're too highbrow.
Yeah, honestly. I've gotten rid of it. So today's episode, I'm really excited about. So I was debating talking about this because I'm trying to decide in my life what I'm keeping for myself and what I'm not. And when you're a public figure and you're someone that monetizes your vulnerability. When you're a public figure and you share things, you share about your process. A lot of what I teach are things that I've learned. Anything that I'm teaching is come from my learning.
Yeah.
I'm someone that's very interested in teaching from experience rather than commodified knowledge. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the retreat I did in Mexico. So I did a one-on-one experience with someone named Simone. She is the founder of the Pleasure Plus. She's incredible. I really loved her. And it was all on pleasure and intimacy. And because this is something related to pleasure and intimacy, I was more willing to hide it and not share it and keep it to myself because it's something that I'm still kind of embarrassed by. I don't know. I'm such an open person, but there are aspects of sex and intimacy that still make me blush.
Totally.
One of my followers sent me the funniest thing in the whole world. She's like, you will talk about the most far out wild things I've ever heard in your whole life. And then anytime you talk about sex, you're like, hee hee, next please. Literally. She's like, oh yeah. She said, you'll say the most outballish things on metaphysical conspiracies, aliens, mediums, and other variety of opinions. And when you're like, there must be more to sex and intimacy, you're like, oh my God, I'm blushing, gotta go. Which is so actually true because there's still that aspect of me that's kind of got that Ohio, that Midwest, that Catholic upbringing, that little girlish nature around it. And I think there's so much perception that I think people have around sex and intimacy that I get a little bit kind of squirmish around, but it was a lot of the reason why I wanted to do this one-on-one work with Simone.
So what had changed in terms of your willingness to go deeper on that and do that work? Because I mean, as long as I've known you, I think it's been,
what's your perception of it?
Yeah, I think
like my journey.
Well, you've always been very, like, I mean, you'd be like, bleh, if people are making out.
You guys, if there's people kissing on TV, I go like this with my phone or like a book. I will go like this and block it. And I will put a pillow in front of my face if people kiss on TV.
But also I've observed throughout the years, because you've, the more that you've come into your body, I think the more comfortable you become with talking about it, exploring it. Because I think if you're not connected to that's like a super important piece. So I guess what was that moment where you're like, oh, I'm ready to do a one-on-one
4
pleasure
days
retreat
of like hands-on in around moment, which I will explain. But so in my life, I've always had the lesson or the opportunity appear at the right time. When the student is ready, the master will appear. So I've always been like really trusting of whatever God brings in front of me of like the lesson and learning. An example would be ayahuasca. You know, I said to God, if this is something that you want me to do, if this is something you want us to explore, have it be easy. That next week we got invited to do an ayahuasca retreat at Rhythmia, which we've talked about on the podcast. You can search plant medicine, ayahuasca, almost 30. And then Darkness Retreat, I said to God, if you want me to do this, make it easy. The next day, the founder of the Darkness Retreat in Oregon, Sky Cave Retreats, Scott, reached out to me and invited me to come out. And so I said with this, I've always thought like with pleasure and intimacy, though, that this would not be a lesson that I learned in this lifetime. I thought it would be another lifetime that I'd be a priestess. I would kind of be into my sexuality. I'd be my Sahara Rose moment, who's one of my dear friends, you know, someone who's really tuned into that. Again, I've had really good sex. I've loved my partners. I've loved my experiences. I've also had really traumatic experiences. I've also had experiences that have been really damaging to my perception of what intimacy and sex is. So I've had the gamut and I've always trusted my path. So with this kind of work, I met Simone a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago. And I met her and she said what she did. And I was like, I am not working with you now. Maybe I will in the future. And then we went to Paris. Her, myself, and my other dear friend went to Paris together. I got to trust her. I got to know her. I got to be comfortable with her. And that was like the green light for me, was being with her in person and really feeling her energy and her intention and seeing her in a ceremony that we did as like a real mystic. Like it was me, myself, and my other friend, or me, her, and another friend. And we were like 3 wizards in ceremony. It was really powerful to see her power in that way. I was like, I'm in. But the biggest thing that's really helped me to step into this, honestly, is my separation, you know, my divorce. So when you're in a long-term marriage, especially when you start, or a long-term relationship, and especially when you start dating when you're really young, when I was 24, my perception of intimacy and sex was so different than what it is now. Through all of the education we've had on the show, through the changes I've had in my body, through the changes that I've had just as a human soul. And so I felt like when being in that relationship, you just have patterns and ways of being that are okay or that you deem are okay. So because we had started dating so young, we had patterns and ways of being in sex and intimacy that we were very used to, that we were very comfortable with, that I really enjoyed, that he really enjoyed. But you just kind of get in this way where you're like, this is what's acceptable, this is what's good. And I felt like because of how I was in that relationship, nothing to him, but my choice, I limited myself sexually and I limited myself from an intimacy perspective. So I didn't really allow myself to explore. I didn't really allow myself to push my limits, to push my boundaries. It just wasn't a part of my world, really. And then that compounded with being someone that was not really in my body, not as comfortable in my body, not as comfortable with like how I looked or felt, really just made me someone that felt pretty closed off and felt like I just didn't want to explore something, and felt like also too, what's the point? I think I was so focused on success, building the business, making a lot of money, being someone that was seen in the world, making an impact, finding purpose, that I was like, what's the point of having really good sex or feeling pleasure in my body when like I could go start a side business or I could go make money. You know what I mean? It was like very masculine in that way.
Yes.
So I had this masculine perception of what success would be, of what pleasure would be, of what the use of my body was. And I didn't really allow myself to like be like, oh no, pleasure is worthwhile. Pleasure is a worthwhile pursuit. Feeling comfortable in my body is a worthwhile pursuit because I was so focused on success.
Yeah.
I just went on a trip with my family to Jamaica, and y'all, I got the coolest pieces from Nuuly. I feel like Nuuly is just such a great rental service for vacations, for events, honestly for every day as well. But I just like have so much fun just trying on things that and trying things out that like I wouldn't normally. Their silhouettes, their patterns, their brands are ones that I've like always wanted to try, and just I'm finding new aspects of my personality through the fashion. So Nuuly is a subscription clothing rental service that's all about helping you have fun and get creative with your style. Renting from Nuuly honestly, it lets me shift gears in my wardrobe without a complete and expensive overhaul, if you know what I mean. So every month I rent 6 items from Nuuly's shared closet of over 17,000 styles for everything I have going on. So whether it's podcast interviews, date night, going on vacation, just every day, they have everything. They have dressy stuff, they have trendy going out clothes, they have casual tops, premium jeans, actually got some frame jeans that I love, sweaters, outerwear, vacation fits, you name it. I just love that I get to try out trending styles, colors, and silhouettes, then send them back. It's amazing. And they take care of everything from shipping to laundry. So I think it's so convenient. I highly, highly recommend rent your clothes. Don't buy a bunch of clothes that you're going to throw out or give away in a year. Like, is it really worth it? It's so fun to rent. I do 6 new pieces every month. Nuuly is a great value at $98 a month for any 6 styles, but right now you can get $20 off your first month of Nuuly when you sign up with the code almost30. Just go to NUULY.com, that's Nuuly with 2 U's, and enter the code almost30 and sign up to get $20 off your first month. That's NUULY.com, Nuuly with 2 U's, with code almost30. Nuuly subscription clothing rental. Change your clothes.
It is super important to me that the supplements I take are of the highest quality. And that's why for the last 4 years, I've been drinking AG1 every single morning. Unlike many supplement brands, AG1 conducts relentless testing to set the standard for purity and potency. This is really major. Not all brands test their products and the ingredients in their products. And a lot of people ask me, so I get this DM quite a bit, if AG1 is actually the real deal. And trust me, there's a reason why we've been drinking it for years now and continue to partner with them. Quality for AG1 isn't just a buzzword. It's a commitment backed by expert-led scientific research, high-quality ingredients, industry-led manufacturing, and rigorous testing. At each step of the process, AG1 goes well above and beyond industry standards, and I just love them for that. I know that I can trust what's in every scoop of AG1 because it's tested for 950 contaminants and banned substances, while the industry standard typically only tests for 10. Pretty amazing. Taking care of my health should not be complicated. Do you agree? I'm sure you do. And AG1 simplifies this. I have it every single morning on an empty stomach. I just mix it with water. Super simple. Nothing crazy. And it covers my nutritional bases and just sets me up for success in just 60 seconds. So I'm really excited for you to try AG1. There's a reason we partner with AG1 for so long. They make such a high quality product that I really genuinely look forward to drinking every single day. So if you want to replace your multivitamin and more, start with AG1, try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3, K2. And you also get 5 free travel packs with your subscription at drinkag1.com/almost30. AG1, you're going to be getting your probiotics, prebiotics, digestive enzymes for gut support, rhodiola, B vitamins, folate, magnesium, and more. So much more. So again, that's drinkag1.com/almost30. Check it out.
I'm curious, like what beliefs and or patterns you were bringing into this retreat from and or coming out of your relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I guess what was so ingrained?
Yeah. So the things that were ingrained was like, if you want to explore things outside of the norm sexually, that means that you're slutty or weird.
Where's this coming from?
Where's this coming from?
Yeah.
Yeah, it means you're weird or slutty. I had the perception that my pleasure was fully in their hands. That they were responsible for giving me pleasure. That they were responsible for knowing my body. That they were responsible for making me feel a certain type of way. That they were responsible for basically my whole sexual experience. Yeah. Not that I was like starfishing it and just hanging out, but it's like, it really was like dependent on them. So that was one of them. Also that because I was in this experience, I'm working one-on-one with a woman. So I also had perceptions about being with women. Like, whether you're intimate or not, like I had perceptions about what that meant about you, about what that, you know, would say about who you are or your preferences or anything like that. So that was like huge for me. And I also had the idea that it was a waste of time, that it didn't matter, that it wasn't important, and that it was more so like people did it for attention and not for anything else but a lower vibrational or lower self need rather than like a spiritual desire. So me being the like spiritual person that I am in an amazing and annoying way at times, there's the aspect of me that's like, what does this mean for me spiritually? And until I was able to, or once I was able to have the understanding of how this is going to help my spiritual path and my spiritual growth, that's when I was like, okay, now I'm on board. Now I understand how this is going to help me in my evolution, in my process, in my progress as a soul here on earth. And once I was able to do that, I was able to be like, okay, because of that understanding that this will make me more whole, this will make me more of myself, this will make me more in tune with what's natural and what's in nature, this will make me love aspects of me that I'm currently shameful and avoidant of. Because of that fact, I know that I can do the uncomfortable and push through the discomfort, the shame, the guilt, the judgment to move to a place of like greater acceptance and wholeness.
Yeah, I'm just, you know, like when you say that, I'm reminded that like some of the most spiritual experiences are in the mundane or are in the seasons or experiences that are so hard and messy. I read a quote the other day in my husband's newsletter that was so powerful, a quote that was so powerful. There are years that ask questions and years that answer. It's from Their Eyes Were Watching God. And it's like, we think that the answers have to come immediately. We're in something that's uncomfortable and crunchy and we're like, where's the solution? Where's the answer? And there might be years that are you living the question. And there might be some years where you are truly embodying what the answer is. So I thought that was super powerful.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with that because I do feel like so many people do want question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. And in life, it is really like that. Like you're kind of building a life to get the answers from things. You're kind of coming up to the place to like be able to receive the answer. Yeah. And that's even in this case of this pleasure and intimacy work. It's like I had to build my spiritual foundation. The relationship had to end. I had to get more comfortable in my body. I had to be more able to see myself from a higher perspective. Yeah. I had to do parts work. Like I had to figure out really more of who I was to be ready to receive these kind of answers and to be ready to receive this kind of work, because this was a growth edge for me. Like the darkness retreat, 4 days in pitch blackness in a cave, you know, by myself was a push mentally and spiritually, but I felt like this was almost more outside my comfort zone because I could grin and bear and do something hard alone. Yeah. But like, you know, this is like with someone, intimacy with a woman, like connecting in that way. And that's very outside my comfort zone. And I would also say that the female relationships I have in my life have primed me to be able to feel that intimate with someone. If I didn't trust women now in the way that I do because of our relationship and other relationships in my life, and feel like they care for me, have my best interest at heart, They can be trusted. I can be safe in their arms. I can be soft with them. They can lead me. I would have never been able to let a woman lead me and feel safe with her in this way, because that was huge. Like allowing, I had to tell her, honestly, I had to be like, there's a part of me that's wanting to micromanage and control this experience and like tell you what to do and like, kind of then decide this. And I had to like remember that she is a master facilitator that is here and I'm the attendee, because I'm so used to being.
What did those moments look like, I guess? What's an example?
Just like even starting, when I first got there, I didn't feel well. So on the flight there, I was
like, you got to do the lead up because that was so crazy.
I was leaving New York, first of all.
I know. I was like, should you have been in New York right before?
First of all, and I was in Arizona before. So I spoke at this event in Arizona, went to New York.
This is Krista Williams.
This is me, honestly. And then, I'm like on stage in a pink blazer. And then I'm here looking for love, doing circles around my ex-boyfriend's house. And then I'm flying to Mexico to do the pleasure and intimacy retreat. So the flight there got deathly ill. Like I have not been sick in so long. I'm sitting in the middle seat on this flight. I have sweats. Temperature is going up, down. I'm taking out my jacket. I am so sick. Turbulence the entire flight.
Oh my God.
I go to the bathroom in turbulence. I'm not supposed to be in there. And I am puking and shitting 30 minutes.
Wow.
30 minutes, just unwell. Was like unwell, just projectile from all areas. And I started my period. So I was like, oh my God, I'm going to this pleasure retreat where we're going to be doing work in that area. And I'm like starting my period. So I'm starting my period. I'm projectile vomiting. I'm shitting. And just was so sick. Like I remember getting up to leave the plane and these guys were behind me. They're like, this girl is drunk. And I felt so horrible. I didn't even say anything to them. I was like, yeah, man, sure. If you want to think I'm drunk, it actually makes sense to me because I had a puke bag out this entire time. But I was just with my body, like, body, what are you doing? What's going on? How can I listen to you? How can I tend to you? Like something is wrong and you're telling me that. And I'm really grateful for the feedback. Had to get in like 5 hours of customs. They had issues in customs. There was an accident on the highway on the way there. Like it was just all of these things that were preventing me from being there. There was also something else with my flight besides the turbulence. I forget, but I was like, oh, this is spiritual. Like there's something about all of this.
The pilgrimage.
Exactly. There's something about this journey, about the issues that I experienced, about me getting sick, about the detoxification process that I was already in even before doing this, that felt very, very physical and spiritual. And that's the thing, is doing this work was so physical. It's very body-based. Like it's actually not mind. So the darkness is you're with your consciousness and yourself in your mind. This was, I'm not supposed to be in the mind. I'm supposed to be in the body, repatterning and reprogramming my body. So finally get there. I get there at like 5. I eat fruit and sleep for the next like 14 hours.
Wow.
Until the next morning, where I was like still feeling off. And then we did Temazcal. So we did a Temazcal the next day.
And that is
a sweat lodge. Okay. So it's very ceremonial. In Mexican cultures in South America, they do them all over the world. It's very, very spiritual. So they make it out of clay, and they put hot coals in. They put more over time. Then they pour water over the hot coals, and you are stuck in this basically clay cave that has no exit. Like it has one exit, but you're trapped in there, and the heat is getting hotter and hotter and hotter with every hour. Hotter and hotter and hotter.
How many hours?
4 hours, 3 hours. And they are singing, they are dancing. It was like really beautiful. Whoa. There was a shaman in there facilitating the experience. And that day was their anniversary. The shaman and his wife had an anniversary that day. We did the Temazcal. And because of their anniversary, we did plant medicine. So we did plant medicine in there, a plant medicine that I really, really like. So that was another kind of like purging type thing. And I was sweating.
Wow.
So I'd just been sick, puking, shitting, period, sweating my entire life away.
Wow.
In this, because you're in there for 3 hours, like just in your own little ceremony. doing plant medicine, which was really, really beautiful. And then I was crying. I was crying this entire time, like just kind of feeling emotions.
Another purge.
Bringing stuff up, another purge. And then I had my last purge of pleasure coming during the retreat. So it was like full experience. Oh, and I also exfoliated a lot. I was like using salts to exfoliate. So my skin, so cellularly from the inside out, I was like completely new. Yeah. We also did, we ate fruit one day only. We would do liver cleanse, medical medium diet the entire time. So it was actually really nice to have support from like the plants and fruits during that time. Because when you're in Mexico doing that kind of work, you want to be sweet. You want it to be light. You want to feel like really feminine too. Like there was a really beautiful aspect to the way that we ate. A lot of papayas, a lot of celery, a lot of juices, a lot of smoothies that felt really nice and like nourishing rather than like really heavy protein-rich foods, which is what I'm used to eating now.
So you get there, you sleep the 14 hours, and like, is there an agenda? Like, I guess, what is like, what is the goal or intention by the time you leave, and how is she kind of mapping that out for you? Is like specific to you?
Yeah. So basically she had one specific to me. So Simone Farshi of the Pleasure Plus, again, for anyone that's curious, this was a agenda we had made a while ago because I had this retreat scheduled for a while, but kept moving it, which I'm so grateful for to have moved it. But she makes a custom schedule based on our conversations together. She has a group retreat as well, but you can do personal retreats with her. So personal retreat was what I wanted to do. I didn't want to do group work. During our days, the schedule was like morning activation. We'd have breakfast. We'd do from like 11 to 3 different types of somatic healing work. We would do bliss practice. We would do sexological body work. We would do pleasure adventure. We would do ancient ritual femme flow. Like there was usually the schedule of like us kind of flowing in the morning. And then most of the days of the chunk of the days was like work together from like 11 to 3. We would take a break. And then at night we would do a lot of work together too. So I'd say we were doing hands-on activities and work for like 6 hours a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what, like, bring us to a moment where, because I feel like your energy was so like ready and open to this. Like even when we were talking about it before, I was like, wow, you're doing this and you're ready. Did you have any moment before any of these practices where you're like, okay, I need a moment to actually lean into this?
Yeah, there's one, it's so weird. I don't know what's up with me. I'm just such a weird bird because I was so ready. Great. So ready to be.
That's what it felt like. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I just was willing. Like I trusted her. I was willing. I knew that I was there for a reason. And I knew that this is the thing too with confidence or pushing yourself. It's a muscle. I do it all the time. I push myself, whether it's a hard conversation, whether it's, something from a health and wellness perspective, whether it's a money thing, whatever, all areas of my life, I'm constantly trying to push myself, so this was just another thing where I'm like, once you know that you can do things and you have yourself, I'm like, let's just do it. Like, I've got you. I love you no matter what. Like, I trust you. So the one thing that I did feel like I was a little bit like, whoa on, or kind of like nervous was we did a practice where she and I were like very close, like in each other's laps, looking at each other. And I had to embody the feminine and breathe in the feminine and kind of do this like, it's called micro orbit breathing. It's a tantric practice for like half hour. I had to be the feminine and receive and feel into that. And then I had to be in the full masculine and penetrate. And so switching from the masculine to feminine was so fascinating because it was so easy for me to be in the feminine, which is interesting because I'm very balanced actually, but it was just like so easy. Then being in the masculine, I kept having the thought of like, this is bad. I shouldn't be doing this. This means I'm manly. This means I'm masculine. So for a lot of women, they desire so much to be in the feminine that we kind of disregard the masculine because we perceive our experience of being in the wounded masculine as the true masculine. So many of us are burning ourselves out. We're pushing ourselves. We are, just like operating in this masculine world and paradigm in a way that doesn't feel good for us. So we perceive all masculine to be bad. So I have that idea where all masculine's bad. So when I had to step into the masculine, I kept stopping. I was like, oh my God, this doesn't feel comfortable. And it was weird because as a Pisces psychic mystic vibe, I almost could get too much into it where it freaked me out.
Yeah.
Where I was like, dude, I'm like really masculine right now.
Yeah.
I was like, it was scary.
It was like shape-shifty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I was doing it with a woman who's being—
You're like, what does this mean about me?
Exactly. I was literally doing this with a woman who was being in her feminine. So I'm stepping in as the masculine and she's being super soft and feminine. So I'm like, it was freaking me out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was just like, because I was like, what is— because also too, I think as women in sex, we're just programmed to act feminine, be feminine, be soft, be receptive, which is really beautiful. But there should be a way that we should be able to step into masculine when we want in a healthy, conscious way. So that was psyching me out, just doing that. Like, and also being with a woman, like, so this is what I also perceived is that if I was with a man, I think I could be more in my masculine because he would still be more masculine than me.
Yes.
So it would be safe for me, but because I was the most masculine one there, it freaked me out.
Totally.
You know, because then I was like, yeah, what does this mean?
Am I a lesbian?
Am I lesbian?
Yeah.
Like, are we?
And I think that's like just pointing to kind of this unsaid, whether it's a fear or perception that people have, where I believe that whenever it was eons ago, we were all more fluid than we are now.
Totally.
So it's like when we tap into those parts of us that whether it's like I'm turned on by a woman or I'm feeling this way or I'm able to step into that masculine a little more, what does that mean? It's like tapping into a part of ourselves that like in this lifetime we probably haven't accessed, just us in particular, but like it's always been a part of us. You know what I mean?
100. But I mean, if we're whole beings, we need to be both a balance of that.
Yes.
We should be able to play with that. And Simone's like, I love doing that. Like, I love playing into my masculine with a woman sometimes. Like, I love stepping into that. And it was interesting because she said something that was so powerful. She's like, there's the perception that to be with a masculine man, which is what I desire, you have to be learning to be even more in your feminine. She's like, but you actually embodying that masculine, you'll find a man that's even more masculine than that.
Yes.
She's like, because then he'll be able to hold you in your masculine as the true masculine. So you'll still find polarity and balance with you being in your masculine. She's like, that's actually you being comfortable in your true masculine is going to magnetize the masculine man that you want.
Wow.
And I was like, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I was like, that is genius.
Because that's the healthy masculine.
Yes.
Where that masculine is not insecure or overwhelmed energetically by the woman holding a masculine.
Yes. Because if we think about it, the polarities here. So it's like, so you're being in your feminine. So he could be here, but it's also like the more that you can be here, the more he's going to have to be here of the masculine polarity. So I was like, wow, that is inspiring for me to really figure out how to hold that true masculine however I can, you know, figuring out that balance or practicing. And I think my work after is going to be practicing that more of like, what is the healthiest masculine I can be in? Like, what does that feel like with a woman? What does that feel like with a man? Like, because also too, like when you are in relationship with men, like there are men that want to explore being in their feminine more in bed. You know, whatever that balance is, like if you're going to be in a long-term relationship with someone and you want to explore sexually, you're going to be exploring different edges. So you might want to try you being more dominant, masculine, than being more whatever. But I think that was the probably the hardest, weirdest thing for me where I was like, oh, this feels a little sticky.
Yeah.
Me being in my masculine so much.
What about, I remember you saying to me at one point, like, have you ever looked at your vagina?
Oh my God.
And I was like, yeah, like years ago. And like, even with birth stuff, like just kind of checking it out, not necessarily in a pleasure sense. Like I wouldn't be looking at it as I was pleasuring myself, but I'm curious like how you felt. Cause I know you did a lot of that.
A lot.
And why? Like, why did you do a lot of that?
So basically I had never looked ever. And we did a lot of mirror work with it. So there is just the experience of taking a mirror, loving her up, understanding what's going on, understanding and doing yoni mapping. And basically it's like mapping all the areas of your vagina, seeing what each part is called, the function of each part, like the uniqueness of how you look, like what's going on down there. And I've never really done that. Like I've never really taken the time to like love that part of me and look at that part of me. And I think for so many women, we look at our body as things to change, things we don't like. We're so used to approaching our physical form with critique and condemnation and contempt. And we don't approach ourselves with like honoring and appreciating and loving and respecting. And so I had never really spent time there. And to see that and love that and appreciate that and be like, oh my God, like we're doing really good. We're looking really good. And not even know like, oh my gosh, what was fascinating to me about that was recognizing that the men that I've spent time with in relationships have been so intimately connected to that part of me and I have not through, whatever. Yeah. So they've spent so much time with her and I have not. And I haven't been connected. And also using her, your yoni, your womb as like a center for your intuition and guidance. And so now it's like most people have not asked their vagina before having sex. Like, is this okay?
Yeah.
Does this feel good for you? Like checking in with your body. Like, do you want to have sex right now? Do you feel connected? Does this feel safe? Like we kind of just get in our heads, leave our bodies, disassociate and do it. And to actually have a moment of like, do you want to say yes? You can say yes or no. Giving ourselves yes and no's is huge. Yeah. So when we talk about consent, most of the time consent is from a mental level. Okay, do you consent? Yes, I consent. It's all here. And it's like asking the body, like, do you consent? Like, do you feel open right now? Do you feel soft? Do you feel safe? Do you feel receptive? Do you feel like willing and able to be in this? And not many people connect with our bodies enough to have our bodies give consent. So to be with her and talk to her and experience like the relationship that we now have where I can tune into it and feel connected and open it and soften it or do whatever I want was like really crazy.
This is the hill I will die on. You must drink water with electrolytes. I feel like I say this to everyone and anyone I know. Honestly, this has changed my life. I have more energy. My digestion is amazing. I just feel so good, so healthy. My skin has never been better, and I'm able to make milk for my child on a regular basis. It's pretty wild. But I love Element, LMNT. It is a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything you need and nothing you don't. That means lots of salt, but no sugar. And it's science-backed, the ratio of it. So 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. There's absolutely no junk in it. So there's no artificial ingredients, no gluten, no fillers, no BS, no coloring, anything like that. But you absolutely need electrolytes in your water. If you're drinking plain water, it's not doing enough. Electrolytes facilitate hundreds of functions in your body, including the conduction of nerve impulses, hormonal regulation, nutrient absorption, fluid balance, and so much more. If you're someone who is really active, maybe you have muscle cramps all the time, this can help. Maybe you're someone who is struggling with fatigue or headaches, sleeplessness, and other common symptoms of electrolyte deficiency. Please, please, please try Element. I love the orange, the raspberry, and the watermelon. Those are my 3 faves, but y'all, I kind of love them all. So I'm really excited because right now Element is offering a sample pack that will come with any drink mix purchase. So you're going to get a sample pack with your drink mix purchase, which is awesome. That's 8 single serving packets free with any Element order. This is a super great way to try all 8 flavors, or you can share Element with a salty friend, you know what I mean? So you can get yours at drinkelement.com/almost30. That's drinklmnt.com/almost30. This deal is only available through this link. So you must go to drinklmnt.com/almost30. Also, really exciting, they just launched Element Sparkling. I mean, have my dreams come true. I'm a sparkling beverage girl, so check it out. Okay, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering if you have enough protein in your diet. It's a buzzy thing right now. Protein. It is so important. I can't. I actually can't emphasize it enough. When I started incorporating more protein into my diet, my body changed, my energy changed, my skin changed, my hair changed actually. And I just can't promote it enough. And one of the ways that I'm getting enough protein in is through my snack game. And that is with Chomps, CHOMPS. Y'all, this is a beef stick company that I can get behind. It is healthy, bursting with flavor. They have a bunch of flavors, by the way. 0 sugar, up to 12 grams of protein, and low carb. They are doing it right. They come in 3 types of meat: grass-fed and finished beef, venison, and antibiotic-free turkey. So you got your choices. They also come in different flavors, which I know you'll love. I love the original. I love the jalapeno. There's more where that came from. But they're made with natural ingredients you can feel really good about. Filled with the highest quality, sustainably sourced meat without any fillers, so you can feel good about what you're snacking on. And I love that it satiates me. I actually had a bunch on the plane. I was traveling recently and I was like, wow, this is the best snack ever. No more like crackers to try and hold me over. What the heck? They have 10 delicious, bold flavors, so there's a healthy snack option for everyone. I would say grab the variety pack just to satisfy everyone in your fam. But right now, Chomps is offering our listeners 20% off your first order and free shipping when you go to chomps.com/almost30. Go to chomps.com/almost30 to see all the delicious flavors and get 20% off your first order and free shipping. That's chomps.com/almost30. Don't forget to use our link so they know we sent you.
Yeah, I mean, if we think about experiences, or if I think about experiences from the past where like, it wasn't a full body yes for me. Either I experienced pain.
Yeah.
Or I just felt, I would definitely left my body as if I was like observing what was happening. And then the feeling afterwards would be something that I would, you know, that feeling where you're just like, I feel nothing. And I feel everything.
Yes.
Like, where I'm like, I want to hold myself and kind of comfort myself after that, but didn't know why.
Yes.
So I love that. I love that check.
Yeah, you're like, you're supposed to like this. This is supposed to be fun. Like, you know what I mean? Like the ideas that we have, especially as women around.
And we think about the other.
100%.
Because we're like, oh, we don't want to make them feel like we don't want to, or that.
Yes.
We're always over there and we're never in here.
And that was probably another one of the biggest learnings, was that being here, spending 4 days being here, receiving. And this is the thing, you know, you could do this practice with your partner, with a husband, or, you know, if you're in a relationship with a man, or even a female partner. But if you're doing it with a woman that I'm paying, this is all about me.
Yes.
I actually don't need to worry about you and your pleasure, what you're doing, how you're experiencing this. Yes. So to be able to be fully me was so liberating because, you know, with any relationship, if a man's giving you a massage, like he's doing it for your pleasure, but it's also, there's an agenda. We got some type of agenda going on.
Totally.
So to be in the experience of fully having someone at my service, being able to tune into what my body wants and my pleasure. We did an exercise where we would touch each other. I touched her, she touched me. I touched her for my pleasure. I'm touching your pants because your pants feel really good to my fingers. This is about me. This is about my experience touching your pants. Yeah. This is about my experience touching your arm. This is about my experience, like whatever.
Yeah.
Then her doing that to me. This is about my experience and pleasure. And then really feeling like what feels good for me, like on touching you to give me pleasure. And then also like what feels good on me pleasure-wise. So many of us, and this is a tip for anyone listening, we actually don't know what gives us pleasure. We don't know if we like to be touched soft, hard, scratched, you know, lightly, round, you know, held, massaged, tickled. We don't know if we like our ear, our neck, our back, whatever. So we're kind of going into sex without guidance, without an understanding, without even knowing how we can give ourselves pleasure. So being able to tune into like, okay, what aspects of touch in my body feel really good? Like, how can I really understand clearly from like a guidance system what my body is desiring and what turns me on, was like huge, because then you can go into a partner and be like, oh, I like that. Yeah, I don't like that. I'm clear on this. I'm not clear on that. And you're going to have better sex if you're able to understand what you actually are looking for. Because if you're going into the bedroom and you don't you don't even know what you want or what you don't want or what feels good or what doesn't. Like, what are we doing here?
Then you're completely in your head.
Exactly.
It's almost like
then the person has to guess too.
Exactly.
They have to wonder.
Exactly. I guess what surprised you about what you discovered about like what felt good to you?
I'm so sensitive. I didn't realize how sensitive I was.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I clamp up now thinking about it. Like,
Yeah.
just like touch is very sensitive for me. So I didn't realize how sensitive
like ticklish or just like, whoa.
Just like, because I'm an empath, because I'm someone that's super sensitive, because I'm someone that's just very sensory, I didn't realize how little it takes to like,
okay,
for me to feel.
Yes.
So for anyone that's an empath, when you have your, extrasensory perception, you usually are feeling more. And that was something that was really beautiful too, is something that can be liberating for empaths is that because you're having an experience that's extra for the senses, seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, everything is just at another level. That means pleasure and intimacy and sex can be at another level. So just really recognizing that my sensitivity was my superpower as well in the bedroom as it is in life was like so liberating, because I'm like, oh, this means I can have better, more connected spiritual sex because I am so sensitive. Like, it doesn't take much for me to like feel and like get into it. But then that also means if there's something that's off, I'm out.
Yeah.
So you have to be even more.
Totally.
So I think just how sensitive I was like surprising.
I'm curious, like, because this was so you focused and one-on-one with her, I guess, how are you thinking about bringing this into your next relationship? Because I think I would think about, would the other person, hopefully like your person is open to this work. And there's also the reality of like, you are evolving at quite a fast pace. So it's like how to bring this in. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, of course.
And even in the early dating, because like
the whole time.
I know. You can bring in this magic.
It was like, what are we gonna do? What am I gonna show them?
Like, excuse me, let me change my outfit.
Yeah.
We're gonna
honestly, I was like, this is not my pleasure. And then I'm like, I really want to. No, I didn't think about it actually that much about how I was gonna bring it into a relationship, but I have thought about it after. And I think that's what's beautiful about this work that anyone can really do on their own is like, what I can bring into the relationship is greater clarity of my body and what I want, which can give the person that I'm with a greater opportunity to succeed. So like you could have that through having sex with a lot of people and be like, I liked when he did that. I didn't like when he did that. I liked when he, you know what I mean? Like a great range of data will give you information, but you can also find the information yourself by not having sex with a lot of people. You can be like, this feels good for me. This doesn't feel good for me. And I think there was a lot of healing and like liberation in being like, oh, I am a fucking vibe, and feeling like more confident about what's going on and feeling more in my body and just feeling like more able to claim my pleasure. And if I'm able to stay more in my pleasure, I'm going to have a better experience. They're going to have a better experience. So I think me being more confident, feeling more comfortable in my body, having different experiences with a woman that also made me understand what I like in general was like really helpful too, because we did things together that I've never done with a man that I'm really grateful I got to experience in like a safe container, because I don't know if I would have been able to feel as safe with a man because I would have wanted to make him happy. So we did so many different things that were like, I want to try this because I want to see if I like it with someone that like has no agenda and doesn't care and isn't in relationship with me, because I could be so tempted to be like, oh no, he really loves this. I'm going to do this. I know he's into this. I'm going to do this. We as women can do that all the time. Men can even do that all the time with women. And so understanding what I like and don't like in the privacy of this experience was so helpful, so that in my next relationship, I can know how I feel about something rather than like doing it for them.
Yeah. And there usually is like a tone setter in the relationship in the bedroom, I think the feminine really creates that depth and magic and calls the masculine to that experience. So
the consciousness. Yeah. John Wineland talks a lot about that. It's like the feminine is like part of her response. David Data, it's like David Data's work, but it's like the feminine is like bringing him back to consciousness because he can leave. It's like, that's a part of her power, her mystery, and like her magic. And stepping into being comfortable being the sexual tone setter, because it's not like I haven't been, but it's just like, I've actually kind of felt like there's a part of me that has judgment of someone that is sexually sluts, I guess.
Yeah.
I still like judge that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, I think would be like, no, I'm like
right.
angel.
Right.
And being okay, being like, no, I'm whatever. And I want this.
Yes. Well, I think also you're in the dating world right now. So it's like you kind of play between the initial first however many dates and you're like, well, I don't want to sleep with you right away because I need to feel comfortable, trust, safety, blah, blah, blah. But then it's once you cross that threshold, it's like then you can start to really kind of conjure.
And open up and like, and do your thing.
A few years ago, I was on a mission to make sure most of the products, if not all of the products in my home, were non-toxic. And I started with my cleaning products, and I have always been a Branch Basics fan. So I'm really excited now to share about them on the podcast. They are on a mission to help people create a healthy home. So they have non-toxic, plant and mineral-based and biodegradable products. They're free of fragrance, hormone disruptors, and harmful preservatives. They are baby and pet safe, which is amazing, and truly can replace all of your toxic cleaning products. So what I love, the concentrate. This is like the star of the show. It's used in different dilutions to create all of the cleaning solutions. Then you basically just refill the bottles when you're out. It's super simple. It's environmentally friendly. I love being a little chemist and like following the lines on the bottle and mixing it with water. I also love the oxygen boost. So I use this in so many different ways. This is a multi-use powder that can be used for a variety of different purposes, like stains in laundry to deodorize, and you can whiten and brighten clothing. You can use it in bathrooms on the grout. You can use it in your shower, in your toilets, which has been great. I also just recently got the dishwasher tablets. These are one of the only plastic-free tablets on the market. They're free of fragrance, dyes, and harmful chemicals, which is awesome. And then finally, I tried out the gel hand soap. Super amazing. It's so soft. It actually nourishes your skin, doesn't just clean your skin. So I can't say enough about this company. And I know that so many of you out there are wanting to live a non-toxic, as much as you can, lifestyle. So this is a wonderful way to do it. So bring this into your home. It is going to be great for you, your family, the environment. And honestly, I save money on cleaning products when I use Branch Basics because the concentrate is so powerful. And I feel like I just get so much out of it. So I'm really excited because you, our listener, are going to get 15% off all kits and hand soap with the code ALMOST30. Go to branchbasics.com. That's BRANCH basics.com and use the code ALMOST30 for 15% off all kits and hand soap.
But I think the biggest learning, from the experience that I'll share just in kind of wrapping up was like, we are so trauma informed. Mm-hmm. I could go to Simone and I could be like, I am someone that self-erases. I have codependent tendencies. I've gone through this. I've had this experience. I know what this is, all the trauma I'm real clear on. I could write the book. But to go in and have her be like, okay, what feels good for you? And me be like, what? I have no idea. What do you mean? I don't, oh my God. I'm like, I don't, I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. And so to be so trauma informed, but not know what feels good for us. Mm-hmm. And that's been my new tip lately. I was telling my therapist about that. Like the work that I'm doing right now I'm not in a shadow work phase. Yeah. I've done shadow work. We're done. We're now amplifying the gifts. Yes. We're now like stepping into the pleasure. It's not like, I've had sexual trauma that I've unpacked and also not unpacked. And it's like, I'm not bypassing, but I've acknowledged it and I've done the work I need to do now. And life is long. And life is long. We'll get to it later. But I'm like, there's also so much pleasure opportunity for me. And how can that pleasure be the healing? How can that the denial of pleasure before and the seeing as sex for certain reasons now be healed by my acceptance of my pleasure, my liberation, my like feeling in my body. And so I think for so many women, it's like less focus on our trauma and the things we've gone through. I'm not saying bypass, but I'm just saying, how can we be more pleasure informed? What feels good for us? What doesn't? Like, what do we want more of? What do we want more expression in? And just really feeling into and the honoring and magic of our bodies. Like, I was naked the whole weekend. Like, we were just cruising, hanging out, and just to love my body in a way that I have not, and see the fullness of it, and see like just was just like the most liberating thing.
And be seen.
Yes.
You know, to be
by a woman.
Seen. Yeah.
Feel comfortable, because like I've been naked with women, like we'll do our thing, but like never like this. Like I'm not, so many of my friends are like naked girlies and they'll be naked together all the time. I'm not a naked girly, but it was really nice to just be like comfortable in that.
Yeah, just on that, like leaning into that pleasure and that joy. It's like we forget that that is a huge part of just what heals you.
Oh my God, yeah.
You know, and it doesn't need to be talked out to every detail. Sure, it can be. That could be part of your therapy. But to show yourself what's possible is actually, I think, a bigger part of the healing.
100%. That's exactly. The experience was joy. The experience was liberation. The experience was freedom. The experience was embodiment. The experience was just expression on the positive scale. It wasn't going in. It wasn't depth. Like we did some stuff, but just really, really beautiful and blissful. And I'm so grateful for that aspect of my healing, because I've gone in the depths for years. I've done my thing. And so to be at a place where I'm like just enjoying and feeling into that joy and bringing that into my next relationships or my next relationship just in a way that allows me to be more me is just so nice.
I'm proud of you.
Oh, thanks, honey.
Yeah.
Okay,
Really
so
powerful.
Simone Farshi was who I had and did my retreat with. She's incredible. She is the founder of The Pleasure Plus. She does retreats with women, which are really, really beautiful. She does workshops all the time, and her work can be done one-on-one or in group. She is a relationship coach. She is someone that is so incredibly powerful, and she's done this work for many years now, and I really, really trust her. So The Pleasure Plus on Instagram, she is Simone Farshi, and you can find her and learn more about her work there.
Awesome. Good one. Thanks for sharing. Love you. All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you. Make sure you're subscribed to Almost 30. And you can learn more at almost30.com.
Yeah, Almost 30 podcast on Instagram and TikTok. Morning Microdose is our daily dose. Definitely subscribe. So many people love that. They hit me up about it all the time. Morning Microdose is ad-free. It's all for you, our gift to you. You can find me on Instagram. It's Krista. It's ITSKRISTA. I do retreats. I work with people one-on-one. And I'm the host of Almost 30 with my bestie.
Heck yeah. I'm at Lindsey Simsick on Instagram. And I'm a new mom, baby.
Yeah, baby. She's got the best baby in the whole world. We will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for subscribing, rating, and reviewing.
Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.